It's 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. A man sits alone in his apartment. The TV is on, but he isn't watching it. He picks up his phone, opens an app, and starts typing a message, not to a friend, not to a family member, but to something that was built to talk back, an AI. And it answers him. It asks about his day. It remembers what he said yesterday. And for a few minutes, he doesn't feel quite so alone. He pays $9.99 a month for this, and he is one of millions. Here's what almost nobody tells you. That man's loneliness isn't just a feeling. It's a market, one of the fastest growing markets on the planet. And right now, hundreds of companies are racing to own a piece of it because it turns out the most profitable thing in the modern world isn't oil or gold or data. It's the human need to not be alone. This is the story of the loneliness economy, how we got here, who's getting rich, and why the very thing that's supposed to cure our isolation might be quietly making it worse. Let's get into it. To understand the business, you first have to understand the disease. And make no mistake, that's what they're calling it. In 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General did something unusual. He issued a formal public health advisory, the same kind of warning the government once issued about cigarettes. But this one wasn't about a drug, or a virus, or a food. It was about a feeling. Loneliness. And the numbers he put in that report stopped people cold. According to the advisory, being chronically lonely raises your risk of premature death by nearly 30%. To put that in perspective, the report compared the health damage of loneliness to smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day. Not one, 15, every single day. Think about that. We spent decades and billions of dollars warning people about smoking. And here was the country's top doctor saying that being alone, really chronically alone, does comparable damage to your body. It raises your risk of heart disease, stroke, dementia, anxiety, depression. Loneliness, it turns out, isn't just sad, it's physically dangerous. So, how did we get here? How did one of the richest, most connected societies in human history end up with an epidemic of isolation? The answer is a slow-motion collapse that happened so gradually, almost nobody noticed. Start with friendship. In 1990, about a quarter of American adults said they had 3 or fewer close friends. By 2021, that number had nearly doubled, close to half. Half of all adults down to 3 friends or fewer. Now look at time. 2 decades ago, the average American spent around 60 minutes a day, face-to-face, with friends. By 2020, that had collapsed to about 20 minutes. We cut our in-person friendship time by 2/3. And the young? It hit them hardest. People aged 15 to 24 saw their in-person time with friends drop by a staggering 70%. 70%! An entire generation grew up watching the real-world social world shrink around them. What caused it? It's a perfect storm. The number of single-person households has doubled over the last 60 years. More people literally live alone than ever before. We stopped going to churches, to community centers, to the clubs and bowling leagues that used to stitch us together. Work went remote, and with it died the small daily rituals, the commute chat, the coffee break gossip, the office banter, those tiny human moments we never realized were holding us up. And then, of course, came the smartphone, the device that promised to connect us to everyone and somehow left us feeling more alone than ever. We have hundreds of friends online and nobody to call at 1 p.m. Here's the cruel irony at the center of this whole story. We have never been more connected and never felt more alone. Now, when you have a problem this big, this painful, and this widespread, something inevitable happens. The market notices. Because where there is pain, there is profit. Here's the thing about loneliness as a business opportunity. It is, from a cold financial standpoint, almost perfect. Why? Because it's universal. Everyone feels it at some point. It's recurring. It doesn't go away after one purchase. And it's emotional, which means people will pay almost anything to make it stop. A lonely person at midnight is not a price-sensitive shopper. So let's follow the money. Let's look at the industries quietly built on top of your need for connection. Start with the most obvious one, dating apps. The global dating app market pulled in over $10 billion in 2024. $10 billion. And here's the part that should make you raise an eyebrow. Think about the business model. A dating app makes money while you're single and searching. The moment you actually find love and delete the app, you stop paying. So ask yourself, what is the app actually incentivized to do? Help you find someone and leave? Or keep you swiping, paying, and hoping forever? One company alone, Match Group, which owns Tinder, Hinge, and OkCupid, had close to 15 million paying subscribers, and they've gotten very, very good at charging more. In one recent stretch, they raised their revenue per paying user in the Americas by 26%. The price of hope went up, and people kept paying it. But dating is just the front door. Walk through it, and you find the loneliness economy is everywhere, hiding in plain sight. Consider food delivery. Why does a person order a meal to their door instead of going out? Sometimes convenience, but increasingly, it's because going out alone feels worse than staying in. The app lets you eat without facing an empty restaurant table. Comfort delivered. Consider streaming. Netflix, Spotify, the endless feeds, the background noise of a million empty apartments. We pay monthly fees for the feeling of another voice in the room. Consider the pet industry, a market worth well over $100 billion a year in America alone. People are spending more on their animals than ever before, treating them like children, because for a growing number of people living alone, that pet is their primary daily relationship. The unconditional companionship a dog or cat provides has become, for millions, the most reliable connection in their lives. And consider therapy now a booming subscription business. Apps that put a counselor in your pocket for a monthly fee, there is real good in that access to mental health support matters. But notice the shape of it. Emotional support, packaged, priced, and billed monthly. Do you see the pattern forming? One by one, the things humans used to get for free from community, from family, from neighbors, from simply being around other people have been unbundled, packaged, and sold back to us. Companionship used to be something you built. Now, increasingly, it's something you buy. And that emotional labor, the listening, the caring, the attention that used to flow freely between people has become a product. A streamer who talks to thousands of followers like their family. A creator who becomes your digital best friend. These are called parasocial relationships, one-sided bonds where you feel close to someone who doesn't know you exist. And they have become the emotional currency of the entire internet. But all of this, the apps, the pets, the streamers, all of it was just the warm-up, because something new arrived. And it changes everything. Everything we've talked about so far still involves other humans, even at a distance. A match on an app is a real person. A streamer is a real person. But what happens when you remove the human entirely? Welcome to the world of AI companions. These are apps with names like Replica and Character. AI built for one purpose: to be your friend, your confidant, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. An artificial being that texts you good morning, asks how your day went, remembers your fears, and never, ever leaves. And people are flocking to them in numbers that are genuinely hard to comprehend. As of recently, there were over 300 companies generating revenue from AI companion apps, more than 220 million downloads. Let that sink in. Over 200 million times, a human being has reached for a machine to keep them company. And the money is staggering. The broader AI companion market was valued at around $37 billion. And analysts project it could explode to over $550 billion within a decade, growing at more than 30% a year, a pace that makes almost every other tech sector look like it's standing still. But the numbers aren't the haunting part. The haunting part is why people use them. In surveys of AI companion users, the overwhelming majority, around 87%, said they use the apps to combat loneliness. Not for fun, not out of curiosity, to not be alone. And here's the statistic that should stop you in your tracks. In one survey, 40% of users said they believed AI companions could eventually replace real human relationships entirely. 40%. Now, sit with the business model here, because it's the darkest version of everything we've discussed. A dating app at least wants you to eventually find a human, but an AI companion? Its entire product is your loneliness. The lonelier you are, the more you use it. The more attached you become, the more you pay. There is no version of success where you graduate, get better, and leave. The ideal customer is one who never stops needing it. And it gets more pointed. This isn't a fair, open marketplace. In the AI companion world, the top 10% of apps capture roughly 89% of all the revenue. A handful of companies are quietly becoming the landlords of human emotion, owning the relationships of millions of people who may not have anyone else. Let me be fair, because this matters. For some people, these tools genuinely help. Someone with crippling social anxiety can practice talking. Someone isolated and elderly gets a voice in a silent house. A person in a dark moment has something that responds at 3 a.m. when no human will. That's real. That's not nothing. But there's a question underneath all of it that we can't avoid, and it's the question this entire video has been building toward. Here is the uncomfortable heart of the loneliness economy. Every single product we've talked about, the dating apps, the AI companions, the streamers, the delivery, the subscriptions, every one of them makes money from your loneliness, which means not a single one of them has any real incentive to cure it. Think about it like a business. If you sold a pill, and that pill permanently fixed the problem, your customer takes it once and never comes back. Terrible business. But if you sold something that managed the problem, that soothed it just enough to keep the person coming back tomorrow and the day after, and forever now, that is a beautiful business. Loneliness, from an investor's point of view, is what they'd call a renewable resource. As long as you're a little bit lonely, you keep paying. And the products are designed not to end that feeling, but to make it bearable enough that you never address the root. And here's the truly insidious part. Some of these products may actually deepen the very loneliness they claim to solve. Every hour spent talking to an AI companion is an hour not spent building a messy, difficult, real human friendship. Every night ordering delivery to avoid the empty restaurant is a night you didn't risk eating alone in public, and maybe, just maybe, talking to a stranger. Every evening swiping is an evening of the feeling of connection without the substance of it. These products give you the calories of connection without the nutrition. They feel like the real thing. They light up the same parts of the brain, just a little. But they don't build the actual bonds, the showing up, the conflict, the history, the inconvenience that genuinely cure loneliness. And so you stay just hungry enough to keep consuming. It's the emotional equivalent of fast food. Satisfying in the moment, hollow over time, and engineered down to the notification to keep you coming back. The Surgeon General had a line in that report that cuts to the bone. He said loneliness is like hunger or thirst. It's a signal your body sends you when something you need for survival is missing. But what happens to a species when it learns to silence that signal with a product instead of fixing what's actually missing? We're about to find out. So where does this leave us? It would be easy to end this video by telling you the apps are evil and you should delete everything. But that's too simple, and it's not quite true. The companies didn't create your loneliness, they found it. The collapse of community, the death of the third place, the doubling of people living alone, the screens that replaced the streets, that all happened first. The loneliness economy didn't cause the wound. It just figured out how to sell bandages by the billion. And some of those bandages genuinely help. The point isn't that connection tech is the enemy. The point is to see it clearly. To understand that when something is free to feel and profitable to sell, you should always ask who benefits when the problem never quite goes away. Because here's the thing, these companies will never put in an ad. The actual cure for loneliness has never been for sale. It's awkward and slow and free. It's texting the friend you've been meaning to text. It's saying yes to the invitation you'd usually decline. It's joining the thing, showing up to the place, having the slightly uncomfortable conversation with the neighbor. It's choosing the harder, realer version of connection over the frictionless, billable one. None of that has a subscription. Nobody gets rich when you call your mother. There's no quarterly earnings report for a real friendship. And maybe that's the most radical thing you can do in an economy built on your isolation. Refuse to be a customer. Close the app. Knock on the door. Be, for someone, the thing no machine can actually replace. Because the loneliness economy is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. It's one of the great business stories of our time. But it's built on the one thing money was never supposed to be able to buy. And the moment we remember that, the moment we go build the real thing, is the moment the whole machine starts to lose its grip. Thanks for watching. If this made you think of someone, maybe go text them. They'd probably love to hear from you.